Hmm, I really this thing. Yeah, but we good. You good? Mhm. Whew, I don't even know. Shoot. Um. Hello. Good evening. Yeah, sure. Whenever. Just, yeah, breezy.
I can balance, I can balance, I can balance. Hey, y'all. We back. Hey.
You so silly.
Hey, El Breezy.
Oh, it's doggone. Yeah. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ginger's Love again. Thank y'all for joining on. What's the topic today? The topic today is the statement, I'll take care of you, you take care of me, versus you take care of, what's this one? Let me get it right. Versus of you taking care of yourself so you can take care of me, and vice versa. You promised me that you'll take care of you for me. Look at Red. So
what's up, Red?
So what I want to know from the audience tonight is, how does that statement resonates with you? Just the first part. Hey, Linda.
Try to be in unison.
I ain't trying to just have.
We be in unison.
So, one moment, because I got to get it in front of me so I can do it right.
Hey, so Lexi. She said, hey, Saint.
Hello.
Hey, Willa.
Hey, y'all. So, yeah, I know that part. So, if you all would just answer that question, just in the chat, put it in there if it resonates with you, or what does it mean. Just in short, don't have to be long unless you want to elaborate on your response. But when you hear that, or have you ever used that statement of I'll take care of you, it ain't no if, it's just the expectation maybe, or the understanding, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. Yes. So I would say for you, T, that the second part, the verses, will be more what you leaning towards when it comes to that. Shoot. I've heard it. Me too, and I never really thought too much on it until I was reading an article about it, and it made me think. And so I like things to make me think about what that really means. And it did resonate with me, and I never really thought about it, but honestly, I would think it's fair game. You know, you take care of me, I take care of you, and we like taking care of each other. But what we
however, comma, you gotta take care of yourself first so you can take care of others. Because you can't pour into an empty cup. I'm sorry, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes. And if I could just get on here.
What happened?
No, this is just frozen.
Oh, okay.
It's just frozen. Frozen.
What was it?
Sorry, y'all. It's taking me a moment to find what I'm looking for, and I'm still not finding it. But that's okay. Okay, so yes, hi Quita.
Hey, Wuda.
It can become a controlling situation if you're not careful. So that's the whole thing, just putting in perspective when we go to people or just any type of relationship and we have those unspoken expectations of, just because you are the person that's being you and giving in to what you want to experience in a relationship, or just being who you are, because a lot of the times you go into relationships probably not even understanding where it's going to lead to, so you're just going with the flow of things. So as you're going with the flow of things, you find yourself giving part of you, whatever that looks like when you putting into a relationship, to the point you start to realize you're not getting it back in return. So you automatically feel like, if I'm doing this for you, you should be able to give this back to me. And you are doing this, you are saying this, but have you really had a conversation and had an understanding with the person that you have these expectations of? Or are you just automatically just thinking because you're being good to someone and taking care of someone that they're going to automatically take care of you? And that's where we experience that rejection and that not feeling equally loved, or that our love is not being reciprocated, because what we're putting in or what we're giving, we're not getting it back. So like I said, I have heard that a lot. Need that conversation about expectations, yes. So you can't just assume because of who you are to someone that they're going to be there to you. And then when they're not, you express yourself in a negative way because you're in your emotions. You're thinking the worst thing you thinking the worst thing as far as yourself, feeling like this person is not returning that love or returning what you're putting into the relationship because they don't love you, or they don't want you, or however it makes you feel. But that type of misunderstanding, because of a lack of communication and just being open, opposed to just going with the flow of things. And I know, like, majority of my relationships were going with the flow of things, the serious ones anyway. Right. So it was just going through the flow, and you would see, and I would be like if I'm doing all of this and we doing this, why wouldn't I think we're going to have something more? Why wouldn't I think it's going to develop in something more? Because you're doing everything what you have identified what a relationship looks like. So we continue to, just go because it feels good. It's a connection, and we're just going, doing like I do.
What you said.
No.
Well, yeah, that's the topic. Take care of me, I take care of you.
Yes, that's the topic of take care of you. And if you don't, then I ain't gonna do that. So now it's like a tit for tat, and then that's where
I got time for that.
That is going to be some resentment. It's gonna be some frustration. You gonna be annoyed. It's like one of them situations where everything is lovely, everything is good, and now you looking at them sideways. They not even really looking that good to you no more. So everything changes just because you did not have that conversation that must be had. So, and starting in relationships, like I know T, and thank you for responding, but anyone else on here, like, what does that mean to you? Is this something that you even really thought about? Or if it's something you just automatically expected? If you're doing good by somebody, you're expecting them to do good by you, period. Just answer that yes or no. If you have that spirit, or if you ever once had that and you have overcome it and have a different point of view or a different perspective about it, have you ever been that person to feel like if I'm doing good, or I may just think if I do good by somebody else and I take care of them, they're going to take care of me. Yes or no?
Yep.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you think that come from? Was it just something that it was just like an automatic? It's just like...
Yeah, like with learned behavior, like what you brought up on or stuff you see. You know, if you don't have the example at home, things you may see on TV or from someone else that you may hang around, or someone else that may be in a relationship and you're not. You're looking at other relationships for an example, and then once you get into your own and you try to walk in it in society's way or how you were taught or learned from your mother, father, whatever your situation was, and then once you get in it and then start loving on you and tapping into you, then you may be like, okay, what they say it will, what it should be, I may not be there yet, or you may jump in, how we say we jump in relationships and we give our all, or trying to be that person, or try to be those expectations of those conversations. And you can have those conversations of expectations and you try to live up to it, and then everything is not by book though. You can have those conversations, but then life happens and then you have to adjust. So sometimes it may not go how you expect it to go or how you may want it to go.
And so how do we handle that? Like, how have you handled that in your experience? How have we been handling that surprise factor? It'd be surprised to take you off guard because you did not expect it. But you did expect this person to be all that you were, or that you saw the potential of what the relationship could be. And again, the relationships go from all... really that disappointment comes in the relationships, a romantic relationship, but it also goes in those platonic relationships or your friendships that you have, and you expect whatever relationship that you is, if you are one way and you expecting that person to be just like you, or to communicate like you, to love like you, to give like you, or whatever the case may be, you expecting that person to be this, and when they're not, then you're upset. So is that more of a reflection of you or a reflection of that person? Like, do you think about your responses? Because that is a lot of how we develop and really grow in our own personal develop, is recognizing those feelings. And I touch on that a lot, just being aware of what you're feeling, and it allows you to be able to respond, and you can reflect back and learn from what you experienced. I expect anything. Yes, I was too. And that was that crying out. You just be crying out like, I'm doing all this, and why you don't, believe me, why you don't trust me, whatever the case, what is it, that pushback, they're not, that rejection, for a better word, that you get. And that was always the most confusing thing to me, because I'm like, I'm doing this and I know this, and so why am I getting this back from this person? Or and it's been in friendships and relationships, and like Mel said, family ships. Like, you just don't even understand how people are. So you have to ask yourself, and you do start to look in yourself, because you have questions. You want to know, and you start to look inside, and you look inside because you're trying to figure out what's wrong with you for the most part. And correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, if you ever got upset because you feel like someone did not treat you right, and then you start to say, I'm going to do you like you do me, like Bryce said, I'm going to do you like you do me. And so it's going to be tit for tat, because you ain't finna play me. You ain't finna play me for no food, and I ain't finna be no fool. So I'm finna do me and you do you, but then y'all still in the relationship. So that's another breakdown in communication.
Once y'all at that point, y'all need to go on about your business.
But you don't know that, because you have you done got an attachment from that first miscommunication, that first conversation that did not happen, and you just let your body, your flesh and your needs to speak for themselves. And so now you're attached and you want more and you're looking for more. And I better give more because we don't sit up here and been together and done doing all this stuff. Or I done friendship, I done confided in you. I done been straight up. I done shared, so much with you that I may haven't shared with someone else. And now I'm not feeling like you are meeting me halfway. And we touch base on that. And it comes down to where you want to set boundaries and, love people from a distance or cut them completely off or whatever you need to do to sever the ties that bound y'all together. So the thing that got me in that, I totally resonated with that, but I never really thought it through. So that's what I learned too, growing and going through my journey, as I started to really think about my actions and my feelings and where did they come from. And if it don't serve me right anymore, if it don't do me any good for my growth and development, then I need to change my mindset. I need to change my belief system as to why, it wasn't no real basis as to why I even did that. So like you, T, I used to be big mad, and I really felt like I was done wrong. Like someone has really done me wrong. That is situationship. And just do more than me, like we weren't gonna. Yeah, and that's another thing. If you not have that common ground or that common balance in what it is that you want, and respecting the difference between one another, and just being at a place where you really can accept that person, and then you work the good of both of y'all. You should be working together to have something and to grow together, but not expecting everything to be on the same level or do what you do, like type of situation, because we can't go in relationships expecting a person to do what we do. Right. And especially if we haven't even looked into their relationship or got to know those people, because I can tell you from my own experience, I do not know these people until I get to know them. But the attraction, that natural attraction that you have with someone, you can easily bond with someone on the surface of who you are before you can even get to the deep.
Baby, but when the real deal come through.
And then who fault is that?
But give me the real deal up front. Don't give me your representative. Show me who you is. I do the same. When I come in, I'm giving you everything. This is me. Everything on the table, good, bad, ugly. So you won't get no surprises, none of that stuff. So again, you can get in your feelings or whatever if you're expecting someone to do the same thing. And maybe they're not there yet. But that goes with rushing as well. Take your time.
So that was my biggest lesson is learning from that, is to take my time and really get to know someone, because I don't know them, and then it don't be fair to that person for me to project who I am and what I want on them when I done gave you me before I even asked those questions, before I even cared about that, so I've already did that. So then you ask yourself, are you really being fair in that situation when you are holding yourself accountable and taking, responsibility for the outcome or whatever the case may be? And it can be a shared, you took it, but at the same time, we didn't have this conversation. So why would you expect someone to do something because you thought it, you assumed it, and you gave in, and y'all didn't really have that conversation? Exactly. So that's where the bump heads and the fight start. That's when it's a fight and it's a misunderstanding about what's going on.
And I thought, and I would think if I done this, you would do. Because 9 times out of 10, they may not even be on the same mental wavelength as you to think like you. So that's why they're taking time and getting to know and really being your true self, so they can get a true evaluation of who you really are, and not those expectations or that checklist that they got of what they want in somebody. So.
Yep, and I just think that comes from a place of thought and thinking about what's happening once you have experienced it. And that's how, again, we develop is, even if you don't, we have to learn from those assumptions. So I'm good with my assumptions. I'm good for everything that I have went out, because
I have them not wrong. Some of them be right.
So in those assumptions, I learn from in those choices that I made, good or bad. I learn from them,
right.
And so that's how I continue to grow and become at a place of peace. Then find that type of inner peace to where, like, no matter what I go through or what I experience, especially at the hands of my own choices, then I can deal with it. I can always have that peace with it because I understand, life. I understand situations, and I understand the need for communication. So I'm always looking at the situation or whatever that I'm going through in full perspective, and I'm listening to that person. And one thing, I was reading DMX, I always have something where he says, you got to trust people. And my brother, he says it too, trust people for who they are.
Right.
Trust them to be who they are, and who they show you, trust that, but also trust yourself to be able to see that person for who they are. So if you can see that, you can accept that, and you're not trying to change a person.
Right.
And that's where we go wrong, because we really do. Before we may be unintentional, but we do in our communication try to change that person to fit our needs, as opposed to allowing them to be themselves, either accept it or say, this is something that I don't want to continue on with. We can be cool and move on. Because when you stay there and you hope for something that may not happen, because that ain't what you built your relationship on. You didn't build your relationship on those conversations that needed to be had. So in that, you lost that, and it have to be a point of that person and you come to a neutral agreement that this is what we're gonna do and we're gonna move forward. Otherwise, you just have to take that as a learning lesson and not be so hard. But the verses, the thing that got me caught up, and you said it out the beginning, T, is about you have to take care of yourself. And it always comes back to yourself, so you won't even be that hard on someone for not being what you need them to be. Like, it won't even be in you if you take care of yourself first, because you're going to carry yourself in a totally different manner. You're going to communicate in a different manner to where that opportunity that you have experienced once before, where it was just, let's go with the flow or whatever the case may be, then in that way, you get to reserve yourself and see if this is something that I'm going to lean into, or this is something I'm going to pull away. So the dating part is good in relationships, and before you go in totally trusting, because I'm a very trusting person and I like to see the good in people and let them be who they're going to be. And when I see it, I am going to recognize it. And I may even, give you a chance, give you the benefit of the doubt. But I know it comes a time that if you do not change, then I understand that that's something I have to accept, and that's something that I am willing to accept and move on and govern myself accordingly. Yourself is impossible to love someone else. And it is. And I did not think that, because I didn't know anything about loving myself. Like, seriously, I didn't know anything about that. I know about loving others and what it's supposed to look like, but I didn't know about loving myself. Okay. And so
in everything.
Yes. Now we really are. We have experienced, and it's we have experienced life enough to know that going with the flow is not the answer. It is not key. So going with the flow is from when we didn't know any better to when we when we was like the child in training wheels. We didn't know what we were doing.
Ourselves to even know what we really wanted.
And that's why you can't be hard on yourself about it either, but really embrace what you have gone through, and don't let the past be like that dark cloud over you, but something that you can really look back and learn from. If you reflect over your decision or circumstances and really look to yourself from where, you have those opportunities to grow or to learn from, then you really can heal from whatever trauma that you went through in those experiences, in those relationships, or whatever the case may be. You really can begin to heal in those in those not so good experiences that hold us, that keep us in the past, thinking over and over, and we
up in our mind,
in our heart and our spirits too, not even in our mind, because it just depending on how we thinking and feeling about it, or how we think about it, or how we internalize it, it makes us harbor those same emotions, and it don't. And so when you have those triggers of those of what you done experienced, it come back and you ready to put up that guard, or you ready to shut somebody down, or whatever the case may be. So taking care of those things that have hurt you, and I'm telling you, in those emotions, that anger, that guilt, that sadness, or whatever that negative emotion that takes away from who you are, then, and I'm saying who you are because, again, we are love, and we are of goodness. We are made of goodness, and just a caring, nurturing spirit that we are, because that's just how we were created. So in that, we always just want to be mindful of how we feeling, and not to judge ourselves about it, not to be critical of ourselves about it, but to learn from it, and take care of yourself, so you're not harboring these type of emotions, these negative emotions in your spirit, to where it causes you to be cause you to be hard up, cause you really not to be open to receive the type of love that we be seeking in relationships and from other people, because it's hard for people to see that type of love in you, or that type of that vibe, in you, period, because you got too much blocking who you are because of those experiences that you're holding on to. And just being able to deal with that and be okay with whatever that is, whatever you was lacking in that moment, but knowing that you know better now, and you won't go through those things again. So I can forgive you, and I know that I'm not going to go through those same things again, because I learned from them, and I know that it did not feel good. So I understand how that works now. And I have peace with it. And I really have peace with people being who they are, regardless of how it looks or whatever the case, because I know I have that choice. I know I have that moment of decision to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I've seen this story before, and I've seen, how this work, and I'm just not going to put myself through that anymore. And then that's your decision, and you don't pick up on what someone else is doing, because they really need to be in a place to where they can take care of themselves, so they can be better in a relationship. And that's why at the end of the day, our roads lead back to us. Our roads lead back to who we are of ourselves, because we are the only ones can bring that goodness out of us by being aware of what is taken away from us. The left to the left to the left. Everything in the box to the left. So yes, and so I know that there is peace in there. There is freedom, and you really can release some of the things that's weighing you down, that's really heavy on your heart when you're dealing in relationships with people, because you really have to understand, when you're reflecting on your journey, when you are reflecting back on your journey, if you do not see where your emotions, where they broke down at, or where you may have missed something, or maybe that it was your responsibility, then it'll be hard for you to grow past that, and you'll keep repeating the same thing over and over again till you actually see where, and you take control and take power of your choice to do something different. Otherwise, we really have to take things for what they are, and especially in a way to where we not fighting with the other person because of something that we assume that was, and then it ends up not being, because you just did not have that conversation with that person. You just had a physical relationship with that person, and it felt like it was love. It felt like it was something that you wanted. But when it got down, like I say, it's only the surface of who you are when you meet in the flesh. And hello, hey, everybody that's joined. It is really in the flesh, you meet someone on the surface of who they are, and then as women, I know, and sometimes men, we want to go deep. We want to connect on a deep level. We want to connect on that level that I know you care about my feelings. I know you care about my emotions. So and you're acting in that way because we're communicating on that level that you are showing me. Not much. You are communicating with me on that level, so I'm knowing you paying attention to how I feel, what I'm thinking, and we're connecting on that level. So there is the opportunity to really bond with someone on a deep level, and just take that time because you can really tell. You know, we do have intuition, and we can tell when things are not on the same page as we on, and you either gonna address it or you gonna turn a blind eye. Like say you look the red flags, you turn a blind eye, or you just don't pay attention to them, and now you in this deep relationship, this attachment that you are hoping for something more and more, and that's where all those bad emotions come in, that when you stay in a situation that you know that's not working, but you have hope. So in that, again, you cannot, if you have hope, if you choose to stay in a situation because of your heart and your mind and the hope that you have, you really have to own that wholeheartedly. You have to own it, and when it comes a time for you to resolve the situation because that person just not meeting you where you are, then you have to be able to stand on that and be okay with it and be like, okay, this is just not working out for me. This is not working out for me. So the whole part in that, like I learned from that, and I learned to really accept things and everything, you know, and just not think that it's just a one way. I mean, this just how it's gonna be, because you don't know. So you just have to be open to that, and that again, that's your inner peace where you can be open and you really don't have to shut down. And I think that's the most important part too, that made me think it is a way for you to grow within and get to know yourself, but also where you don't have to shut down to deal with people, because you'll be able to read people just for who they are, and you'll be able to accept it, and then you'll be able to communicate in a way that is going to be good for you and the person that you're involved with. But that being able to be open, that's a hard thing. How quick are you all to share your emotions? Like those things that make a difference in what a person think or a person expect. How well do you share your emotions or your feelings or what you expect or where you coming from or where you stand on? Because Melda was saying before, she'll tell them all up front, you know, this is what I want. And sometimes you got to ease in information. You just kind of see, you know, how things are going, how much you need to give a person, or how much you just need to kind of see where it's going and what you need to say. So are you all on here? Are you able to openly, if you're at a place to where you don't accept yourself for who you are, so it's nothing that will stop you from opening up and having those much needed conversations? Just a yes or no. If you are at that place, if you are really at a place that no matter what the situation is, that you are able to articulate your feelings and your thoughts about the situation or the relationship that is the potential. Yeah, they say that if that's your first conversation, that could run somebody off and be like, if you go talking about kids and, you know, marriage and you want this, you want that, and you set all those rules, then they like, I'm not even going to waste my time with this person. This is too much. And they can be intimidated by that. So, yeah, and I've been told that too, T, that, you know, when you open up like that, you know, that'll make people, you know, run them away, because you don't really get a chance to even see if this person will be a good match for you. So that goes back to the time to where you can take your time to really get to know somebody. But what about getting to know somebody for who they are, as opposed to setting all those rules out? Because you're just being open. You're not looking off the TOP to jump into a relationship, because you don't even know if you like that person. And you haven't gave yourself a time to see where that person coming from, what their values and morals are, or anything. You ain't been able to demonstrate that. So sometimes we can expect a lot from someone that can't even give us what we want. And because we ain't took the time to really see into that and get to know a person on a deeper level than the physical, we end up going in circles in these relationships, friendships, or whatever the case may be. Yes, it is nothing wrong with that. And no, yeah, that's friendship too. That's why I say in friendships, you have a lot of people that they were once friends and they're not friends no more. And I always thank God, I have lifelong friends. I haven't had too many experiences where I call somebody a friend and they no longer my friend no more. But I see that a lot. And it's not just in relationships, romantic relationships, it's in friendships or whatever the case may be. So, and it does come by you doing something for someone and you expecting them to be the same way, or you expecting some type of or there was no clear boundary set. And sometimes you just don't need to set boundaries sometime unless you get to that place to where, okay, boundaries do need to be set. But I don't just go in setting boundaries off the TOP. I used to, especially when I was fed up. I would set boundaries like, I ain't doing this, I ain't got time for this and this, that. And so now I'm just like, I just have been open to just see how things go. And that's how a lot of my relationships develop, is just being open and that person being just as genuine I am, and we connect and we be friends for a lifetime. Nothing that's friendship too. Yeah, so in that communication, so you all on here, y'all good with just outright expressing yourself. You don't hold yourself back in no kind of way. And it ain't always what you say, is how you say it. So you can say things, and we had that talk too, Sean. We touch base on that, and that's just in a relationship too. Sometimes, or just in communication. I'm not going to even say relationships. Just in communications, period. If it's uncomfortable, how quick are you to still talk or have that conversation, that uncomfortable conversation? How quick are you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the least? How quick are you to have those uncomfortable conversations? No, they don't, because you have not taken the time to go beneath. And like I say, us as women, I know we want that close connection, that emotional and mental connection to someone. On a 10, I believe it. Yes, you have to be upfront with them, and that's a whole nother conversation to have too. You may have to join me on that with children and being upfront with children, and that also teaches your child. You can groom them up and mold them up to be able to be open and use their voice in situations that is very necessary in relationships, friendships, or any type of dealings with someone that you are confident enough to speak your mind in a respectful way, just to represent who you are and who you are, and still be open to hear someone. And that's important too. You still have to be open to hear someone, but taking care of ourselves first really does take our relationships a long way. When we take care of us and we don't work on the person that we're in a relationship more than we work on ourselves, then we can really start to see some growth in keeping our relationships together. Yes, so that on that situation. But yes, that raising the children is a whole nother topic of discussion to be had, just because they're looking and they are sponges, just like we are. We grow just like the kids grow. We've been there, and that's one thing also that can draw from your place of compassion and empathy. We have been there. We've been there and we know what it's like. So in that light, you can really be open, not judgmental, not being critical of a person that had to go through the same journey, the same lessons that you had to go through. And although we want to help them and tell them to save them from making the same or repeating that same type of cycle, but sometimes it's just in them. I think it really be in that DNA, especially dependent. I do believe too, like when you're carrying a child, like whatever those emotions and things that you have, that does transfer. I did learn that, studying psychology, that you really do transfer those emotions into your children or from generations to generations to come. So it's always important to communicate constructively and effectively to your children, to your mate, to your family, or whoever you need to, because that's going to be the key. That is going to be the key to all your relationships. The foundation is how your ability to be able to communicate who you are, and not only communicate who you are, but your communication match with who you say that you are. Because we can say this, and that, especially going into a relationship. We'll want all this, but we'll give in, we'll allow so much to happen because we don't got attached. Now we are living off of hope. We living off of hope and the possibility of this person possibly giving you what you want. Yes, be open, but you most definitely have to be honest with yourself. If you are miserable in order for someone else to be happy, it's time to let go and move on. Woo, that was a whole word, Sean. If you are not feeling good to please someone else, and your misery is their happiness, that's a problem. That is definitely a situation for you to look at and take a deep evaluation of that and choose yourself. That is the whole point of being aware of those type of emotions, is being able to assess the situation and then respond in a way that's gonna be beneficial to you and your emotions and your mindset and your peace of mind. Because that happens a lot. That come to that point to where I'm doing this for you, so I expect you to do this for me. And they don't do that. And so you have to deal with all those negative emotions that weigh you down and make you bitter and make you not be the loving and kind, caring person that you are because someone has misused you. But at the end of the day, you allowed it to happen. And if you allow it to happen, then you have to accept that. And you just know like this. And when you get tired, because I had to get to that point to where, okay, I'm tired. I do not want to feel like this. And so that is how I started to just stand firm. And I just was unapologetic about it. I just looking for a dime with you and nickel. Exactly. And that's good. That is so good to instill that type of knowledge and wisdom in a child so they can draw off those words of wisdom in their decision making, because that really helps. Oh no, that was supposed to be miserable. I'm going the other way. Yes, we cannot. But y'all did have to get there right at one point, and how you're able to recognize it, because this is something that you experienced in one point of your life, to where you realize that I am miserable trying to make this person happy. And you know at that point that they are not giving you, returning that same type of love, because you start to realize it, like, I am not getting the same type of love. I do not have a peace of mind. I am not happy in this situation. And it's up to you to find that happiness. And if that means the moving around, then you just have to move around. Exactly. I like that. You can't expect you from other people. You can't. And so, but how do we get there? How do we even start? And that's a question that I've been asking. Like, how do you think we start? And I know it was like behavior, but did we really see that in that a person is expecting a person to be them, or just because someone treats you good, or you treating them good, they treat you good? Did we really see this example, growing up, or this was just something in us that it was like you understood, like that part of that divine intelligence, or the lack thereof, but it was something that you drew from? And Melda mentioned earlier that it may have been from TV. Sometimes we get our identity or our ideal of what a relationship looks like from TV, and not some that's close, a good example. We were taught to expect people to love us the way that we love them. Because in the word, I was going to want to say, we use this to our term, to where you do unto others as they do unto you, as opposed to you do unto others as you will have them to do unto you. So you treat people how you want to be treated, and not how they treat you. Because if you start to take on that aspect of treatment, I'm going to treat you how you treat me. Then if they treating you bad, you going to treat them bad? Like, is that going to make you feel better? Or you feel like that's more power, like domination, but not, and that's something that's been covered in our meditations readings each day, is that dominant, where we are more powerful and independent, and hard really, because we can't be soft and nurturing because of what we experience or the decisions or the people we choose to be in a relationship with that may abuse who we are. Yes, if you feel that you're showing them love, it may make them easy, and that's what I'm saying too. It's a need for validation it's a need for validation from someone else. And if you feel you're showing them love, it'll make it easier for them to give you love in return. That's the idea. That's the idea, and that's what we hope for. That's like an expectation that we hope for. If I'm loving you, you're going to love me back. I'm telling you, that was my golden rule. Yes, treat others how you want to be. We learned that in family, church, home, and church. That is definitely where I learned it from as well. But the showing the love, like I'm gonna love you, and and my reason for wanting to love and give my all to someone, because I didn't want it to be questionable, and I felt like if my love wasn't questionable, then you would no doubt know that I was worthy and that we can have something. But baby, that is not the case. I did that and I was still questioned. So that's when I understood that no matter how well you treat someone, they are not going to treat you the same way, unless it's by the grace of God you find a spirit like yours that's going to do the same thing, that is going to meet you, and not because it's some type of agenda, it's just because of who they are. So I love to have connected with someone that is a genuine spirit. They told me years ago to continue to treat people the way I want to be treated, because most people will never treat you that way, but that's between them and God. Amen. Yes, there was some words of wisdom that is forever. That is what I believe in too. Like and that's like that spirit, those bad spirits like you can be around. And I know that spirit of defense is in me, but the other type of spirits or influences of my actions or how I feel or who I am or anything like that, there's no great influence on me, because I choose to be that person. I choose to be the person that I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated for the most part. And about the only time that defensiveness, that is the only time you'll see me get out of that type of space. If I feel like you just totally disrespectful and then I stand my ground and speak. But I'm steady not trying to be just in a conflict with anyone. I know that I can remove myself from the situation just to avoid any type of conflict. But at the same time, I can be open and speak my piece as well as allow someone to speak their piece. And hopefully we're mature enough to have a meetings of the mind just on that alone, just on the alone that I respect you for your truth and you respect mine for mine, and that's what it is. And we can that's okay. We ain't even got to agree to disagree. We can just agree to let it go. But if we agree to disagree, that's fine too. However, we want to resolve this matter once we have spoken our piece about it. And if it doesn't sway us in no type of way or give us any new type of perspective that is going to help, like I said, I'm real big. I don't think we did a lot of thinking growing up, not thinking through other things that we took on as our own beliefs. Yes. Exactly. I mean, that's just the thing. Now, you have to be aware of your bias, part of you too, and that is one thing. Like, it's just hard. Like, I don't see how we can, I don't see how we can go anywhere if that's not in play. If that respect and kindness is not in play and you just want to be rude and mean and out of control, you can do that by yourself. Just point blank period. And you shouldn't just do it by yourself, because I am trying to find a place of peace and that open dialogue to where you just feel just as heard and respected as I want to. Those are definitely those boundaries you have to set. And otherwise we good. Otherwise, we good. Like I'm like, I don't have it in me to judge anyone beyond to what I may observe of their actions. Beyond that, that's it. That's about just as far as it'll go with me. And I just don't have that space because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to really hone in on somebody else and how they acting or how they choose to be if it's not no place of, where we can actually just bounce and, like I said, have that open dialogue to kind of grow, or gain some respect or some understanding or clarity or whatever that you need from that person. But I definitely think when you're talking to someone, it is a good skill to learn to be able to really listen to them without shutting them down, because you already in your spirit, you don't want to hear it because how set in your ways that you are to where you're not really open to hear someone else. And even when you hear someone else and they still not, it's not from a positive light or a light of growth or a light that don't keep them in a bad place with themselves or other people, that is that place where to be quiet. It's that place where that this is not your battle to fight. It's your battle to whatever you may be feeling that you want to say back to try to change them, like that unintentional controlling when you may want to project yourself onto someone else, just maybe even out of the goodness of your heart. But at the same time, you have to be able to recognize people where they at in their life, where they at in their journey, and know when to step back and not push yourself onto them. So I'm always just open for people that is just as open as I am to take from me, and I take from them in whichever way that we are growing together. And so it's not always a matter of like I said, it was this one meme that I really liked, that it's not that I don't love you, we not together because I don't love you, just there's no growth there. Yeah, because you can't. Because what'll happen if you do? So, and you got to be okay with that as well. Just long as you don't have that, like say you examine your heart, long as you don't have that no type of resentment in your heart, in that I'm not going to fool with you. I'm not going to fool with you because I know it's not going to be good for me or you. And not that I don't like this person, I'm not talking to this, I can't deal with this person, nothing like that. Like if you don't have that type of resentment or that negative emotion attached to this decision, then you're good. That's just a healthy boundary that you have to set with yourself and others, just to protect your peace and theirs too, as far as you are concerned. But other than that, then it is what it is. But yes, that is definitely gonna be our thing, y'all, is to always just look to ourselves and any of those emotions. Like you really, and when you look back at it, what has it ever resolved when we do that? Like how did these relationships and friendships and even work, resolve when we are not able to communicate effectively and constructively, meaning that we are just being clear about what it is, our intentions, where we're coming from, and on a level of respect as well, just on a level of respect and for that person, and also just being able to communicate where there's no what's the word I'm looking for, but where there's just no tension. It's not, and even if it's tension, it could just be from you being uncomfortable with talking about something. But once you see a person is open and they not just as tense as you are, and that's where you come in at, when that person may be tense, if you can stay calm in a situation, if you can control your emotions in a situation, then that way you'll be able to open up that door for a kind word turns away wrath. So that is what we want to be aware of. We just want to be aware of those emotions that we carry when we expect, and really don't be unfair to people when we know we haven't had those conversations. And just because what we put into it, because of what we thought and what we assumed, we have to take responsibility for that. If we went into a situation or a relationship or friendship assuming things gonna be like you want and you didn't have no conversation, or you didn't set no guidelines or expectations of what it is, or you didn't set no boundaries or anything like that, again, you got to ask yourself, are you really being fair in those feelings or those negative emotions that is harboring up in your spirit, or those negative thoughts that you're having? If when you're doing that evaluation, that is how, again, I'm gonna leave on this note, is how we develop and grow in our own personal journey, because no one can grow and no one can be you. That was my post note. No one can treat you better than you can treat yourself. And treating yourself good, putting yourself first, like, that's the worst thing that we can do, is deny ourselves our peace for the peace that we think that'll give someone else, or to make someone else happy. Because we're doing that, we're sacrificing our emotions at the expense of someone that don't care and not giving it back to us. So we're going through all of that, and that person still won't recognize the love that you have for that person, or the reason that you're giving them at. It's like a sacrifice. You're really sacrificing a piece of you for an opportunity, and not a for sure thing. So you got to ask yourself those things. Like, is this something really worth me denying myself this type of peace, for me steady want something? Yes, it is. You want that, you want it, but it's not worth denying yourself your peace of mind and what you want, and just standing in that truth, standing on, this is what I want, is not good for me. But just be mindful of that, because it's no good, it's no resolve, no conflict resolution at all when we are being that way, when we are not taking full responsibilities for our action, and really not looking to blame nobody else. Not looking to blame anyone for how we feel when it's bad, because that's something we don't put some meaning on, something that we really have to evaluate and say, why did I do this? And if it don't serve you, again, if what you believed or what you thought or what you base your decisions on, if it didn't serve you right, you need to change your perspective on those things. But never blame anyone else for how you feel, because it is your responsibility to straighten it out. It's your responsibility to be aware of that. It's your responsibility to be aware of your emotions and to take care of them, because we are responsible for becoming whole. And that means to be one in mind, body, and spirit. And the only way we can do that is get to know ourselves, ask ourselves those questions about ourselves. And the best book that my guy Deepak Chopra said, that the best book that you can read is yourself. That is the best book that you can read out of anything, is paying attention to your why, all of that, why you thinking like that, why you feeling like that, why you're reacting like that, and use that information to invest in a better tomorrow. Like, use the information that you learned from your experience yesterday, and that's what your past is. Your past is to learn from it. Learn from your past. Don't hold it and live your past, especially when it's from bad experiences, from something that you didn't know. You didn't know until you went through it. And so that is just a learning. Your past is a learning thing for you to reflect on, and then use this to become better. Just to become better, and to when you become a better person, then you better for everybody. Because how else could you affect anyone if you good with yourself? If you're at total peace with yourself, you take total responsibilities for your actions, for your thoughts, and your mind. Like, how really can that be not beneficial to yourself and others? So That is the thing. Take care of yourself. I take care of you, you take care of me. You maybe be focusing more on taking care of that person than taking care of you. And we do that before we even know it. Grow through the process. Yes. Grow through the process. Trust the process. And don't beat yourself up through the process. And definitely don't beat nobody else up through the process. Don't beat anyone else up and share with others. Yes, share with others, because what you have gone through, and like I say, the people that I connect to, you may not connect to them, T, Linda, Sean. We may not connect to the same people, but if we speak in the same language when it comes to that peace and that loving ourselves and being responsible for ourselves and our happiness and that inner peace, and not other people, like whatever our story is that got us to that place to where this is where we at now. That's where you draw your compassion at. That's where you draw your empathy and your understanding and your mercy and grace that you have for the human being, period. Just from being human and being a piece of who we are. Just being standing in that truth of yourself, and then who you want to be to other people. Everything will work itself out, especially in anybody that is not ready to receive your energy, or vice versa, that work themselves out too. It ain't even nothing you really have to do, is continue being you and let them continue being themselves. And so, yes, it should be the past and you grow and learn from it. But I know people suffer so much from past experiences and they really can't let it go. And they can't let go of what people have done to them, to the point to where they are not free in their spirit, they're not free in their mind, and you're a prisoner in your own mind. You can't even break out, and that goes to Tupac, that you're alive but you're not living. And that's deep, to be alive and not truly live, and really be thankful and grateful for the life that we have. Because it is our life. We only have this life. We're only responsible for this moment right now. So in this moment right now, I'm thankful to have experienced life as I have, my emotions, my not so good moments. I don't even like to look at them, as bad things, because I did not, it was something that I truly wanted to do. So if I chose it, that's something I wanted to do. And then in those moments that I chose to do something that I really didn't want to do, I know now that I was not loving myself. I was not choosing me first. I was putting someone else's needs above mine and to my own expense. Because it may have stolen my peace of mind. It may didn't break my heart, but I may have been doing something that steal my peace of mind, to where I'm steady thinking about it. Or it maybe did break my heart. So whatever the decisions that we make, we have to own them, and we just have to get to that place where we can make decisions to do something different than what we have experienced, because we want to experience that peace of mind. We want that inner peace. We want that wholeness. And we want to just feel complete in who we are, not complete with other people. And I can't even believe it. I just thank God, y'all. I thank God that I'm in this place, because I have been just a lover girl out my mind and not knowing anything about love. So I just thank God all the time, for my growth, for my understanding, and my ability just to sit back and really learn and grow from my life experience and grow from other people. So I appreciate the people that's out there sharing their stories. I appreciate you all that's here, that is engaging and putting your perspective in, sharing your opinion about your experiences and things like that, because it really does help people. Like I say, it helped me. And I know, and I thank God for the voice that I have now. So all this sitting back, just observing, and I was doing work on me, y'all. That is what I was doing. When y'all see me quiet and not doing something, I am doing work on me, because I had a lot of I was this emotional being, and we all are, but it was like going against me. It was good for me, but it was also going against me, and I was just determined to get grips on that, because I just did not want my life controlled in that way. And I always felt like, what can I do to do something better? My past is my energy. Yes. Cause that energy be draining. You be drained. You be drained. You be like you done been into about 12 bouts. You done been in the ring and you just wore out. So yes, it definitely takes your energy. And that's the energy we need to spread our love and our goodness and that light just from us. You can't coach yourself, reach out. Yes, you do have to reach out, and whatever that may look like, whatever coaching, because I didn't always have a coach, coming up. I just got to a point that I wanted one. I needed one because what I was going through or where I was at in my journey, this is what I wanted to work with someone with. Because otherwise, and it takes a long time when we do it by ourselves. It took a long time when you just sit, and it can still be good because it'll bring you to a place to where you know where your strength come from. And that's how my faith again was built up in my relationship with God, because I was looking to myself and I wasn't courageous enough, or I wasn't confident enough, or even sure enough that I wanted to reach out to people, because I didn't really trust people with my feelings like that, except for my friends and my family, really my friends. So yes, forgiveness the first and all will follow. Yes, it is that true forgiveness to where you don't have any like little conditions, but that forgiveness for yourself and for your inner peace, everything will, because you are not giving anyone that power anymore. That person don't have the power when you truly forgive with your heart, with your whole heart, and you know that this is your journey, this is your responsibility, and we grow in that. So yes, reaching out, talking to people, and it's always a blessing, y'all, for the friends and family that you do have, that you can confide in, that can give you something that you need to help you cope and go through life and overcome your hardships, your times. That's always truly a blessing for us to have. So I count all of it in all shape, forms of fashion. I recognize it and I thank God for it. And I just will continue to work on myself. I'm always working on myself. I'm always going to be encouraging and pushing anyone to do the same, because I know that's where peace, and I know and I can see this is what has broken up relationships and broken us up as individuals to where we can't be that goodness that God made, that goodness that we have within us. We can't even show it. We don't even trust to show it or even want to in that sense, because we trying to protect ourselves. So we definitely want to, yes, iron sharpens iron, and we have to continue to do that. And the only way we can continue to do that is if we continue to grow. We will always grow as long as we got breath in our body and we can think and we're in our right mind. Just we are able to function. We have all our faculties. That's all a blessing. And we just have to continue to grow and work on ourselves, because personal development is everything. Because when you are in control, totally in control, you can handle anything. And you ain't gonna have that energy. You ain't gonna, Sean, you will not have the energy to give anyone else, and on any other level. You won't have the energy. Even if you wanted to, you just won't be able to draw from that. So yeah, so we just have to do that. Just stay aware, y'all. Stay aware of those emotions and deal with them. Don't fight yourself over them. Just learn from them. I'm telling you, you will learn a lot from them old emotions of ours. You'll learn a lot from them, and you'll start to respond differently, and you'll continue to reflect and just continue to grow. And like I say, no, we're not holding on to the past like that. We looking at the past to grow and learn from it. So this is going to conclude tonight. Y'all, thank you for joining me, and we are taking over. We're leaving on a note that we are going to take care of ourselves so we can take care of other people. Because without loving ourselves, we truly can't love other people. Because how? How are you going to love if you're not, like Sissy said, if you're not full, if you're pouring from an empty cup, then that's not going to do any good. You got to do something from a full cup. Your cup have to be full. You have to be fully there and equipped. You left me. She left me, y'all. Now she want to come back.
Hey, y'all.
She been gone. My sidekick left. But she back. The devil likes it when we isolate ourselves. You are never alone. No, and never think that you're alone, because you're not alone.
Like
yes, I'm having some good feedback up here.
I missed everything.
But Another great lesson. I enjoyed it. Yes, I love it. I love y'all, and I really love when y'all engage, because that's the best part, to have that open conversation, a talk. And the next time, hey boo,
Hey.
the next time, even if I don't have anyone lined up to, even if. Even if I don't have anyone lined up, if anyone just like Johnny on the spot and you feeling good to get on here with me, I will be happy to add you, and we can just have a conversation and just continue to share our experiences, share our love, our wisdom, and hopefully it reach someone and they want to be the same. Yes.
Yes, overflow. And we love you, man. Hey, Sean. Hey.
Yeah, she got in. She didn't tell me y'all was gone. I looked out the window, looked Kyle was bagging that. I said, really?
Had to make a quick run. Go have some business real quick.
But, yes, thank you all. I'll be back again. Be open and ready to jump on here with me, T. We're going to have a conversation about that, the raising the kids on kids. I know you have some. So, just being mindful, just how we teach the kids as well.
Yes, okay.
So I said that's a whole nother situation.
What you said, you had to bring Pooh on that one.
Baby, then y'all will know. Y'all will see in the flesh. But okay, y'all have a good night. This is Ginger's Love signing off. Love, peace, and hair grease. Okay. Bye-bye. Jen, you come so late. Next time you got to be here on time. Or at some point before I close out. All right, see y'all. Bye-bye.